and welcome to another edition of Currently in Quincy. I'm Joe Catalano. On today's program, we will talk with John Hedstrom. He is the Executive Director of the ALS Association Massachusetts chapter. We'll learn about their upcoming inaugural CEO Soak that'll be held in Boston to raise funds for ALS research and services. First, though, of course, we check out the news for you. Quincy College is getting $10.7 million in federal grants from the American Rescue Plan. Congressman Stephen Lynch announced the new grant during a press conference at the college in Quincy Center yesterday. Lynch said it's up to the city and the college to decide how to spend the money, although he supports a plan to create a new home for the college.
And I know there are, look, I try to stay in my own lane, so I bring the money to Quincy and then I step back and I let the discretion go. But I have heard ideas that have been talked about buying a new building for Quincy College. And that's tremendously exciting. So while that is not in my purview, I just know the facts here. 47% of the students at Quincy College are people of color. And when we talk about equity, and that's part of this funding is really to address inequities, right? And the impact that it's had on various parts of our community. When you think about the population here that is being served at Quincy College, there would be a certain appropriateness to ideas like that.
Now, half of the $10.7 million would be set aside to provide financial aid for students, and Mayor Thomas Koch will ask the College Board of Governors to set aside the other half to help buy the Monroe Building and a parking lot across the street. The mayor said the city will add $10 million from the $46 million in federal grants that the city is getting for pandemic relief to allow for the purchase of those two properties for a total of $15 million. And Koch said even if a plan to create a new home for Quincy College at that site doesn't work out, the property can be redeveloped as part of the Quincy Center revitalization project. There will be a Memorial Day ceremony on Monday at 10:30 at the World War II Monument at Mount Wollaston Cemetery in Quincy, but for the second year in a row, there will be no parade. Quincy Veteran Services Director George Nicholson says there wasn't enough time to organize a parade, despite most COVID restrictions being lifted in Massachusetts tomorrow.
Restrictions are going to be lifted. Unfortunately, not in time for me to revise and get the parade going again. But the Flag Day parade has got enough time to pull it off. So that's a good thing. We're just going to, for Memorial Day, we schedule our bands early. You've got to do that routinely. And they cancel because of COVID. And you can't get them back in this kind of short notice. So we're scheduling just the ceremony at Mount Wollaston at the World War II Memorial. It'll be at 10:30 on Monday. Whatever's left for COVID restrictions will be honored, but it's not going to be as bad. I don't have a particular guest speaker. Again, when we set this up as a precaution for COVID, but we'll have all the usuals there, excuse me. And it'll be conducted under the auspices of the Quincy Veterans Council, as usual.
Nicholson will deliver the remarks during the ceremony, which is open to the public. He says American flags will be decorating the graves of all veterans at Mount Wollaston Cemetery and all other city cemeteries. In the event of rain on Monday, the ceremony will be moved indoors to Quincy High School. This year's 70th annual Flag Day Parade in Quincy will take place. However, it will look a bit different due to the pandemic. Instead of the traditional speeches, flag raising, music, and fireworks at Pageant Field after the parade, there will be fireworks launched from a barge in Quincy Bay. The parade will step off Saturday, June 12th at 7 p.m. and follow the regular route along Hancock Street and down Marymount Parkway to Adams Field. Then, spectators are encouraged to pick a spot along the shore when a fireworks display will be launched at 9 p.m. along Quincy Shore Drive. And the plan was put in place before officials knew that pandemic restrictions would be lifted prior to the parade. Quincy City Councilors still have many questions about a proposal by Mayor Thomas Koch to borrow $475 million to pay off the city's pension obligations. During a Finance Committee meeting this week, Ward 3 Councilor Ian Kane wanted to know how the money would be invested once it's bonded.
I certainly appreciate this concept. It's a unique way to save some money. And I think I look at this a little bit differently than the rest of my colleagues. I look at this as as we're sort of an investment manager and we need to make an investment management decision on behalf of the city. And I feel that tonight I would have been better prepped if I were provided with an investment memorandum, right? Here is, I'm looking for $475 million from you, and here's what I'm going to do with it. Because I have no idea where anyone has intentions to put this in any part of the market or asset class. I have no insight into the investment process of deployment, decision-making, management, and oversight. Typical due diligence questions that you would go through to make such a sizable investment, $475 million, more than doubling the size of the retirement fund.
Now, under the plan, the city would borrow $475 million at a fixed rate of 2.5% for 30 years. The mayor says the plan will save the city millions of dollars in the years to come and allow for more accurate budgeting, knowing what the pension costs will be each year. The state would have to approve a plan for 2 new members to be added to the retirement board to oversee the pension fund. The Finance Committee will meet again on the proposal next month. 2 Squantum intersections will be named in memory of 2 Quincy Marine Corps veterans. Ward 6 Councilor William Harris recently proposed that Sonoma Road and Essex Street be named after Daniel Dewey, and Standish and Bellevue Roads be named after Jonathan O'Driscoll. Harris said he knew O'Driscoll personally.
I can remember my wife telling me the story because we were friends, and he was so happy that he was able to move back into Squantum, became a firefighter, moved back into Squantum, where he grew up, and he bought a house on Aberdeen Road, and he yelled to my wife, "Hey, Carol, we just bought a house, we're back." And it was just, he was just, what you just heard me say was how he was when he was in the room. He lit up the room. He was a real great kid that just, unfortunately, things happen. And so I hope that my colleagues again will support me with motion to approve this ordinance.
Dewey was a sergeant in the Marine Corps during the Vietnam War and was honorably discharged after being disabled in combat. He was involved with the Quincy Veterans Council for many years and worked as a probation officer and also served on the state's parole board. Dewey died of COVID-19 at the start of the pandemic. Coming up, John Hedstrom of ALS Massachusetts talks about their inaugural CEO Soak fundraiser in Boston. That's next.
I was vaccinated.
I got the vaccine.
I am fully vaccinated.
I feel safer.
Enjoy your lunch.
It's about protecting not just yourself, but the people around you.
The vaccine is safe.
I did my own research.
Trust the wisdom of the people preparing the vaccine, testing the vaccine.
It's the best way to get us back to a more normal way of living.
Friends that didn't want to take it before, they were like, "Oh, well, you're fine. That means I could be fine as well."
I'm protecting my family,
Neighbors, coworkers.
My patients. Trust the facts. Get the vax.
Hi, we're the Quincy Fire Department, and keeping everyone safe in Quincy is our top priority. And that's why we're teaming up with the American Red Cross to help sound the alarm about home fire safety.
Did you know that in a home fire you have just 2 minutes to safely escape? That's important to remember because home fires claim 7 lives every day across our country.
You can help change that. Please join the Quincy Fire Department and the American Red Cross in ending home fire tragedies by taking 2 simple steps.
Step 1, practice your 2-minute escape drill. Step 2, test your smoke and carbon monoxide alarms monthly.
You can find more fire safety information by visiting soundthealarm.org and pledge to prepare your family against home fires.
Quincy residents can call 1-800-564-1234 to receive free smoke and carbon monoxide alarms that will be installed by Quincy firefighters starting this month.
Thank you for joining the Quincy Fire Department and the American Red Cross in this life-saving mission to keep Quincy safe.
I hear someone go, "Didn't it come from you guys?"
Strangers cough at me.
Move away from me.
Someone spit towards my direction. All the stereotypes that we've worked so hard to break are just going to be reversed. And I won't let that happen.
We all have to play our part.
I donate my plasma.
I've been making masks.
We deserve respect as much as everybody else.
I'm a firefighter, not a virus.
I'm a mask maker, not a virus.
I'm a nurse.
I'm a delivery woman, chef, a neighbor, artist,
Bus driver.
I'm a doctor.
Fight the virus. Fight the virus.
So happy to be welcoming to the program today, John Hedstrom. And Mr. Hedstrom is Executive Director of the ALS Association Massachusetts chapter. We're here to chat about the upcoming inaugural CEO Soak. This is happening on June 10th, right in downtown Crossing, to raise funds for ALS research. Mr. Hedstrom, so great to meet you. Thank you.
Joe, thanks for having me on today. Yeah, we're excited about the event. It's a brand new one. For us, we're borrowing it from our Western Pennsylvania chapter. They've had some success down there in Pittsburgh. So we'll try to see if the black and gold of Boston can improve upon the black and gold of Pittsburgh.
Ah, very good. Okay. Throw down the gauntlet, or the Stanley Cup, as it were.
As it were.
So this is kind of a takeoff of folks are very familiar, of course, with the Ice Bucket Challenge, right? From Pete Frates and his family.
Yes. This is meant to build on and honor the legacy of the Ice Bucket Challenge, which was 7 years ago now. And so we thought we'd bring the community back together. This is directed at the business community, the CEOs, small businesses, large companies, law firms, middle managers, if you want to have your division do it, whoever it might be. But it's a chance to raise money for our organization and have a little bit of fun doing it. We're going to have a little networking event beforehand. People can, I guess you bump elbows still or bump fists and get a chance to say hello to some folks. And then we'll go out in the fountain and do a little soak and have some fun. And like I said, and raise some money for a great cause and for our community here in Massachusetts.
Okay, so the actual soak is in the fountain?
Yes, it is in the fountain. You will have to wear your Sunday best, and you get to go into the fountain, and it'll turn right on, and I guess it'll get you. That's what we've been promised.
But we'll talk a little bit more about that. But first, let me ask you, how is ALS Massachusetts coping during the pandemic? What have been some of the challenges?
It has been challenging, and it's our chapter's been fine. I make the comment that we held serve as a chapter. We were able to keep everybody on board. We were able to keep engaging with our community. The only thing we really had to shut down was our home visits. We weren't able to visit homes, but we are about to reopen starting next week. We're going to get out back into our homes and visit with our folks, and we'll still, of course, recognize social distancing and anything that needs to be done for them. But it's been harder on the community. I mean, it's already an isolating disease, and this has been more isolating for them.
What, I guess, have been, some of the challenges for patients, both in terms of receiving care, but also in terms of, relating with the community and with their family?
I mean, that was the hard part, when this first started, and we already, our community is at high risk for anything is immunocompromised. And so a lot of home help had to sort of come out of the home. Folks weren't going into the home, so they, was relying even more on members to provide care during this time. And everyone around the country is going around the world has economic stress and financial stress and job stress as everyone's impacted by this. So there was a lot more to it. And I said before, they were a lot more isolated. There's a fun story of, a man in Sterling. One of the programs we have is we install ramps for people to get in and out of their homes. And this gentleman had been stuck in his home for basically about a year, but was needing to get out to his appointments again. And we were set to install a ramp on a Monday, and a snowstorm hit on a Saturday. And we partnered with a group of Phi Delta Thetas called Live by Lou or Live Through Lou. And They went on a Saturday morning, about 20 of them, and shoveled out a pathway where the ramp was going to go so they could install it so this gentleman could get out to his appointments. And so it just shows I think the generous nature of the people around the state and sort of engaging with our community and helping our community sort of get back to some sense of normal, particularly now as we really try to open back up.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, what are some of the positives, that have come out of this whole experience, in particular with ALS, and there's one of them right there.
It's a great one. We've learned some other things. We have community groups that we provide, and we've typically done them in person around the state, various places around the state. Obviously, we couldn't do that, so we brought everything sort of onto the Zoom calls, and we found that two things. One, we could bring together a larger group from across the state so people could share different experiences, whether you're on the Cape or you're in Western Mass or in Boston, a chance to meet new faces, talk to new people. And then we started adding in pieces to that where we're going and talking to experts or even our own staff. We have a speech language pathologist on staff, and we started introducing webinars and educational pieces to those community groups so that we were able to provide resources as much as we could and educational resources for our community. And we're going to continue that as we move forward. We're actually building a much larger educational programming piece to our care services programming because of this. We've learned quite a bit.
Yeah, I think a lot of organizations are kind of reassessing, reevaluating, and then picking the good out of what's come out of the past year.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Forward with it. How many folks, just in general, are kind of afflicted with ALS in Massachusetts, would you say, even just roughly?
Roughly, based on the CDC provides numbers that provide an estimate between 400 to 500 each year. Essentially is where we are. We serve about 350 plus within our chapter around the state.
And how do folks access services through ALS of Massachusetts? How does that connection happen?
When they're diagnosed, we work with some of the clinics around the state to provide our contact information. And when they receive that diagnosis, as you can imagine, it's an incredibly difficult time for them and their family. And just provided their information, they can reach out to us, and then we'll have a care services coordinator reach back out to them and just sort of walk them through it. And if they care to, they can register with our chapter. And once they're registered with our chapter, they'll be assigned a care services coordinator, and then we'll get them into anything and everything that we can do. Like all of our care services are provided at no cost.
Well, what types of services do folks find most beneficial?
Anything and everything, but like durable medical equipment, delivering of walkers, deliver power wheelchairs, hospital beds. We talked about earlier about installing ramps. Yep. We have a speech language pathologist on staff, which allows us to have an augmentative communication program. We will provide iPads, Surface Pros, eye gaze devices. When people lose the ability to use their hands, they can use their eyes to communicate. Our goal is to allow people to live as independent a life as they can for as long as they can. And so we have all of this whole panoply of services that we will provide and continue to add to as we continue to grow.
Yeah. Are there support services for family members or friends or colleagues even?
We do. We work with the caregivers, whether it's a caregiver cocktail happy hour, sort of give them a chance on via Zoom just to get together and just sort of talk amongst themselves. We have partnered with our Northern New England chapter to put together a caregiver learning lab. And this is a program where we will sort of introduce them to the equipment and other things that are going to come along in their journey with ALS so that they're comfortable as they sort of have to move through that process and can sort of anticipate what their needs are going to be and when they're going to be. This has been something we have learned from our community. We look at this as a two-way street. And, one of the first meetings I ever had was with a group of Western Mass folks. And they said, what we really needed from the resources, you guys have been great there. We need to be able to anticipate some more. So we're now trying to build out our website with a resource guide and through these clinical learning labs and a newly diagnosed program to sort of help set up them for as much success as we can and allow them to anticipate what they're going to need and allow us to work together in a more efficient manner.
Yeah, who knows better, right, than the people that are going through it?
Absolutely. Yeah, we learned the tricks of the trade from them. It's certainly true.
Has ALS Massachusetts been negatively impacted financially because of the pandemic?
we're definitely down last year in revenue. I will say, PPP, like others, we were lucky enough to receive PPP. That definitely helped. But we were able to hold our own expenses down. We sort of ratcheted everything down and made sure that our care services were taken care of. That's what mattered the most. And we weren't allowed to go out and pick up or drop off equipment. So we basically just shifted to purchasing off of Amazon. And we had some partners who helped us with some grant funds that allowed us to just purchase and drop ship to our folks. And so we've sort of built up a little bit more of an inventory, and we're looking forward to June 1st, next week, getting back out there and be able to do those visits and drop off equipment that's needed and pick up equipment if we need to, and really engage them as we have for 31 years now.
Wow. Are there volunteer opportunities at all with ALS Massachusetts?
Yes, we would love to have folks volunteer. We're actually, this is one of the major goals of the chapter is to build up a volunteer network, whether it's within care services. We'd love to have people who'd help us pick up and drop off equipment around the state if they're able to do that. It frees up our care service coordinators to really interact with our patient base.
Right.
And we're looking for folks who want to help us with our events. Love to have people come out to the events and help us there. So yes, absolutely. Any and all help is greatly appreciated.
Okay, good. Is there like a training session or a kind of a break-in period?
There's the way we're doing it now is if you want to go to our website, als-ma.org. You can sign up to be a volunteer. There's a link to become a volunteer, or you could simply send an email to info@als-ma.org, and we will take your information and we'll reach back out to you.
Were you able to hold any events at all in 2020, fundraising events or community events at all?
We did them all virtually, like everybody else. We tried to do we tried to put together a summer fun run series. We partnered with a few chapters around New England, as well as Andrew Frates and the Frates Family Foundation. We did all of our walks on one day. Did a walk across Massachusetts, walk where you are, and then we had the ride, our Ride to Defeat, which was virtual as well. So we're looking forward to getting back to those in person this upcoming fall.
Right. And of course, it gave you time to plan the inaugural, right? The inaugural CEO Soak, again, June 10th in downtown Boston. If you could tell us a little bit about exactly what that day is going to include. And while you're doing that, I'll show folks the flyer that's been put together all about it. Sure.
So CEO Soak is folks can sign up at our website. You can see it there, ceosoak.ma.org. It's entailing a sort of a fun way to honor the legacy of the Ice Bucket Challenge. We're asking CEOs, whether they're from small businesses, large businesses, law firms, even if they're division managers, it's a way to raise money. Come down to Boston, come down to the Granary Tavern beforehand. We'll have a little brunch networking event for folks to sort of bump elbows or bump fists, say hello to who's doing it. And then what we'll do is we'll send groups of folks out into the right across the street to the Rings Fountain and the Rose Kennedy Greenway. And from my understanding is the fountain goes off for a minute. We'll put a group of folks in to the fountain, and the fountain will turn back on, and we'll capture them getting soaked as with some folks there to sort of video the event, and then they'll come out and we'll send another group back in and just have a nice day of it. And it's not too much time taken out of your day. I have to say, if you have a lunch meeting, you'll be able to make your lunch meeting.
Just bring a change of clothes, right?
What's that?
Just bring a change of clothes.
Just bring a change of clothes, right? But we'll have some shirts or things like that you can maybe use if you need to. But yeah, no, you'd have to bring a change of clothes to make that lunch meeting.
How many folks have signed up so far? Do you know roughly?
Roughly, I think we're at 20 to 25 companies. I will tell you, I found out yesterday we have Peter Alden. He's the president, CEO of Bay State Savings, and he was interviewed. And he's in Worcester, and he's recruiting on his own. He's basically created a second site for us out of the blue. And I'm going down there on Tuesday. They're doing it on Tuesday the 1st. So I'm going to go down to Worcester and with Peter and then Bay State Savings and the CEOs that he's recruited from around the city of Worcester to do it. Now, we've had some good partners there. Worcester Red Sox are involved. Worcester Railers are involved. The Worcester Pirates are involved. We've got folks in Boston. We've got Biogen. We've got Amelix. We've got Harvey Waste Management. We've got Apic Bio. We've got several different companies that are involved. And if you go to our website, the website ceosocma.org, you can see who's Stop and Shop.
Stop and Shop right here in Quincy. So yeah,
right. Stop and Shop right there in Quincy. They're involved. Yes.
Any deadline to sign up at all, Mr. Hedstrom? Or?
Well, if you want to participate in the SOAK, we'd love to have you down the 10th. There's no deadline for raising funds. If you want to sign up and raise funds beyond that date, absolutely. That's just fine by us. But if you want to get in on the fund, you can do that. There are companies that don't allow their folks to be in such situations quite yet publicly. Right. So we have an option if you want to do a SOAK, like Bay State Savings is doing theirs on the 1st. If you want to do it at your office and then send in a video of it, we'll take it. We'll put it into our programming, put it out on our social media, however you want to do it. Okay. We're happy to do it. So if you can't make it downtown Boston, you can do it at your office or at your home, however you want to do it.
Okay, so it might not be as dramatic as the Rose Kennedy fountain, but maybe the backyard hose or something, right?
Backyard hose, yeah. My kids dumped a bucket of water on me so I could do the for a promo video. So yeah, that's how it works. Have fun.
We'll have to get a copy of that.
Yeah. Hi, I'm John Hedstrom, Executive Director of the ALS Association Massachusetts Chapter. Today, with our co-chairs Justin Klee and Josh Cohen, co-founders of Amylyx Pharmaceuticals, I'm excited to announce our first annual Massachusetts CEO SOAK.
The CEO SOAK builds on the legacy of the Ice Bucket Challenge and demonstrates to the ALS community our excited determination to find a cure. We are challenging business and higher education leaders across the Commonwealth to join us on Thursday, June 10 at the Rings Fountain in the North End of Boston and get SOAK to raise awareness and funds for the ALS Association Massachusetts chapter. There's even a virtual live stream option.
We hope that you will accept the challenge and encourage your colleagues and fellow leaders to join us for our inaugural SOAK. More than just a fundraising event, the CEO SOAK presents a unique opportunity for local leaders to network, all while working towards a common goal of ending ALS.
I'm getting soaked. Are you?
Yeah, the kids get to soak their dad. They're happy to throw it nice and hard.
Yeah, and I'm assuming rain or shine. This is going to happen.
Rain or shine.
Okay.
Yes, rain or shine.
Let's hope for a 90-degree summer day, right?
That would be nice. Yes, we'll try to help out. Yeah, let's see if we can get that to help out.
Yeah. Is there a goal, a fundraising goal for this?
We do have a fundraising goal of $100,000. Okay. Like I said, this is a brand new event. We're looking to grow it. So we're going to start at $100,000, and we're going to push to go from there. It's a great way for us, for our chapter, to diversify our revenue stream, to look beyond our traditional walks and ride, which are really heavy community events, and sort of bring in the corporate world to help fund, what we do on the care services side, as well as we do also, we provide funding for research too. We don't just do care services. We like to say we're providing care for today and supporting hope for tomorrow. That's our tagline.
Are the funds for this particular event geared toward any specific area?
No, any and all of our events are typically we bring them in as general operating revenue, and then we basically go to fill where we need them within our operating budget, whether it's care services and we do set aside money each year for research.
Yeah.
And we typically, the board and I will sort of sit down at the end of the year and figure out where we want to invest in our research dollars. And we typically try to bring it back to Massachusetts, but we work with our national organization, which is the largest private funder of research, ALS research in the world. And so we will work with them to figure out which projects they have, their scientific committee has approved, and we'll work to sort of try to, if we can, bring those dollars back here to the state.
Sure. Has there been progress in research in ALS in recent years?
So in 7 years, if you think about it, 7 years since the Ice Bucket Challenge, yes, research progress has been made. We've identified more biomarkers, we've identified more genes. We now have over 200 scientists worldwide working on this. We have spent $100+ million as an organization on research. We have in commitments currently $55 million in research. Amylyx, the company right here in Cambridge, a young company, Josh and Justin are our honorary co-chairs for the CEO SOAK. They just went through an incredible phase 2 trial where they have really positive news. Unfortunately, the FDA here in the States is a little more conservative than Europe and Canada. So We don't quite have access to it yet, but we're hoping to do so. We had a day with the FDA yesterday saying we can't wait. And we had 8 speakers who spoke to the FDA and said, we need faster, better ways, more efficient ways to get these drugs to our folks. And that we're willing to take the risks as long as it's proven safe and effective through the scientific process. And so we're hopeful. There are other drugs in the pipeline coming from other companies. So for a rare disease, we're doing exceptionally well. It's not fast enough. I will say that it's never fast enough in this community. It's the hardest conversation I have to have with folks is that I understand it's like you're facing your own mortality and this is not coming fast enough.
Right. But to give people hope that that it is not forgotten and
yes,
there is progress being made, I think is important for sure.
Yes.
And of course that makes the fundraiser all that much more important, right?
Yes.
Recap for folks one more time. The inaugural CEO Soak to benefit ALS here in Massachusetts, Thursday, June 10th at the Rings Fountain, Rose Kennedy Greenway, and CEOSoakMA.org to sign up, to donate, to learn all about it. Anything else we should let folks know about, Mr. Hedstrom?
If you can't make the CEO Soak and if you would rather work in the fall with our ride and our walks, we'd love to see you. We have 4 different walks across the state, one on the North Shore, one in Boston at Carson City Beach. So that's for the Quincy folks, most likely. We've got one in Worcester and then one in Western Mass. And then for those who like to ride their bikes, we have a great event. We have the oldest ride to defeat ALS in the country. It's in Wayland, Mass. And then we have a 10, a 25, a 50, and a 70-mile track based out of the Longfellow Club in Wayland. And we've been doing it there for years and years. And it's a great event. So we're looking to grow those. So you can go to our website. If you look on the events page, it'll show all the dates for all these events, and we'd love to see you come out.
Okay, great. And I know you're all over social media as well for folks who utilize that. So check that out as well.
Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook. We do a ton of communication through our social media. So if you want to follow us, you want to know what we're doing, that's the great place to go is all the social media. Just search for the ALS Massachusetts chapter, and you'll find us.
All right. Appreciate your time. I really wish you a successful event this year. And please reach out if we can be of any assistance here at QATV. We're happy to do so.
Joe, really appreciate your time. Thanks for having us on.
Our pleasure. Be well.
Be well.
Special thank you to John Hedstrom for joining us today. Thank you to our crew and thank you for watching. We'll be off on Monday for the Memorial Day holiday. Please join us again next Friday. And a reminder to please visit our website anytime. Go to QATV.org. You will find all of our latest programs, news and information, video on demand, live streaming, and much more. For all of us here at Quincy Access Television, I'm Joe Catalano. Please stay safe.